republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you pray over prayer, please?
Dear Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us to gather here today. We ask that you please visit the council as it handles the items on this agenda. We ask that you please remember all the families represented at this table and the citizens for the town of Gordonsville. These things we ask in thy name.
Absolutely. Call a meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Here.
Councilwoman Biggs. Absent. Might be heard. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Here.
Councilman Hart.
Here.
Councilman Prophet.
Here.
I'll do things a little different.
One absent. Approval of the minutes. Have you all read and looked over the minutes? Any comment? Are there any additions or corrections? They will stand approved as read. Line item number 6, police report. Any questions for the chief?
I'd like to see something wrong with the red light down there. That's all. Just something to do with the traffic. The traffic's getting worse down here during the summertime, so. Vacationers and tractor drivers and stuff like that. You know, it's all a mess down there, so. I don't know what to do with it.
Any other questions? Line item 7, fire report. Anybody here from the fire department? Don't see any. Line item number 8, financial statements. Any question on the financial statement? Line item 9, fireworks permit. We have one, you have one there from James Austin Colt. B&B Fireworks, Russellville, Kentucky. Got a certificate of liability, State of Tennessee permits, a certificate of registration of the State of Tennessee, the lease agreement.
Same one we always set up.
Looks like everything's in order.
I believe this is the one near the car wash.
Yeah, one belongs to Dolly.
That'd be a motion.
Yes,
Yes.
motion to approve.
Approve the permit.
I'll make a motion to approve the permit, fireworks permit.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Potts to approve, second. My heart. Roll call.
Councilmember Potts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese?
Yes.
Councilman Hart?
Yes.
Councilman Prophet?
Yes. Okay, line item 10, we got a letter, you should have it in your packet there from State of Tennessee under Environmental and Conservation. Never before have we charged for a permit to tear down an old building or house. But now, they send the form, you see that we are. And I'm sure that's for asbestos and lead paint. So before we tear a house down there, it's got to be inspected by a licensed control regulators require building owners and operators thoroughly inspect buildings for asbestos containing material ACM prior to demolition of this person. Inspection for an ACM must be accredited by the state of Tennessee. Require owners and operators to file a notification statement with 10 days prior to demolition of the building, even if there is no asbestos.
Have you had time to look at this, Daniel?
I looked at it before the meeting. It's seems to be that state reg is going to be a state law as much as a statute. So I don't believe there's any option. I think we got to do it.
I mean, is this something that we can pass on? We don't have to hire that
No.
type of person. We just have to recommend that, hey, this is what the state makes us do.
Yes, that's correct. Just make
Make it known.
anybody that comes in to make them aware of it.
Do we necessarily have to charge for that?
You'll have to pay the inspector, who he is.
You'll have to pay whoever inspects it. Yes, sir. You'll have it accredited by the state of Tennessee to.
What does that mean,
review
though,
the
that we
asbestos.
have to hire that, or do we just recommend that they hire somebody and turn the paperwork in to the state, is what I'm asking.
Says to request your assistance in making contractors and building owners aware of the regulations. You can certainly put it on the property owner to do it. You would just need to provide them that, and they would have to submit the form.
I'd hate to get involved in something that we didn't necessarily have to get involved in.
No, they just have to complete it before we could issue the permit. So you could put it on the person making the application.
Is this the first time you've seen this letter here?
Yes, sir. But You could put it on the owner or the operator, contractor or the owner of the property. Could be responsible to have the form complete.
I agree. I mean, that would take off of us, that we should be responsible for that. That should be up to the owner of the property here.
I don't read this as requiring the council to necessarily do anything, just to make them aware when they, if you had the form, to give them the application when they ask for the permit to tear it
How's
down.
people gonna know, because they've never had to do this before, and they'll start tearing something down before they ever.
Do you have to get a permit to tear anything down?
Well, no, we haven't had one.
Haven't had one
No.
before?
So, yeah.
See, I thought about that too. How are they gonna know? They might have it tore down.
Before they know.
Tear something for the permit.
Well, if you'll give me one more meeting, I'll investigate and see what others are doing, whether that needs to be, whether we perhaps need to adopt some type of ordinance to require a permit to demolish a building. Might not be a bad idea, but I'll talk to MTS and I'll see what other jurisdictions are doing. Yeah. This letter just came out on May 1st, so they can't really expect us to know a whole lot yet. But we'll get there. If it could be on the agenda next month as well, I'll look at it and have an answer for you.
Line item 11, discussion on a building inspector.
Let's go for the budget. I go for the proposed budget.
Oh, okay. There's not anything on the inspector, there's the applications.
Right, yeah. We looked at one.
Well, we get 2 applications.
Got 2 applications.
Have you looked at both applications, Jamie?
I have.
Did I not request that those be sent to Jamie to look over?
I called him.
He did. We have discussed them.
We have this last piece of business here also. Are they within the state regulations, the 2 that have applied?
I spoke with the mayor related to that. The biggest issue that was of concern was whether they had to be bonded or insured. Liability insurance being a primary question. I did research that issue. He called me 2 weeks ago about that as they were reviewing the applications. I found no legal requirement that they be bonded or insured. However, I would not in any manner recommend that you contract with anybody that wasn't. I did speak with MTS about that, and they spoke with the State Fire Marshal's office, did a canvass of their office as well, and you don't have a full-time building inspector that's an employee of the city, say, as larger enterprises would. So anybody that you do engage with, I believe, needs to have general liability and an errors and omissions policy of, at least what the fireworks requires of $1 million, $2 million. And that would be the biggest question I had, because they're going to be effectively independent contractors, just like I would be, or anyone else. So that would be my primary concern, that they certainly have the professional liability insurance, because it could expose the city if they don't. And they're not going to fall under yours because you had it, but they're not employees, so they would not fall under yours. So that was an issue that we had talked about.
Did anybody reach out to the other applicant to see if he was,
I didn't. I don't have any number on him.
you don't have it in your back pocket?
Yeah, I've got that, but it's not my responsibility to do that. I took the requirement just like I did the other one.
What
I
is-
haven't done anything now. I didn't do anything. I took the application that he presented, and I put them in that, and I gave them to y'all. I'm not going to alter any, and I'm not going to run people down. They put their application in, and then y'all can work from there. Now, if you want to put it off another month, and you want to call him and see if he's got the license, or if he has got the liability insurance, we'll do that. But it's not my responsibility to run people down after they turn in an application and say, well, you do this and you do that, need no more than I did the other three or any of the others.
Well, I believe it would be a common courtesy.
Well, it's not, I'm not fixing to alter any applications, John. I mean, I'll take them as they come. If you want to see if he is insured, that'll be fine. You can wait another month and you can call him and ask him.
Can you get me a list of what he doesn't have and what you would recommend? And then I make a motion that we table this to next meeting.
Sure.
Motion
And
made.
I don't, I'm sorry,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, real quick. I don't, as far as deficiencies in the actual qualifications for the position in either application, I don't see anything. But that is, I know in the other one, that is something that I would want to see from your point of view, is to make sure that he's got
That's
the
what I
proper
want
insurance
is-
coverage.
That's what I
And it would look very similar to what you see on those fireworks applications.
Or any application, anything we do, whether it's paving or anything that we do, they have to be licensed and bonded.
Was that in the article that you read in the paper? Did we list those requirements? I saw the ad, but I just barely glanced over it. Do you remember?
I don't remember, I didn't put it in there.
Just have all the state requirements.
Yes. But we will find out if he's got it.
Whose motion on it?
Motion made to table until next month on the building inspector. Need a second. Got a second, Charlotte Prophet. Motion made by Vice Mayor Potts.
Vice
Roll
Mayor-
call.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
Table until next month.
Line item 12, discuss sanitation technician, maintenance technician. I think we've got 3 applications.
When we take applications, does anybody call and check on these people? Any kind of references or,
They've got references on them. I think they.
I mean, you know, anybody can write anything.
Well, we don't, no, we don't do that. We haven't, and we haven't done a background check on it, have we, Shannon?
We need to start doing all that kind
No,
of
sir.
stuff. If we're gonna hire people and fire them, we need to know something about them. You do everywhere else. If you go to work, they're gonna check you out. If you go to work somewhere, they're gonna check you out. I mean, that's something we need to start doing if, just like not being able to talk about it. I think the city council will be able to get together with the applications and look at them and talk about it before we decide who we wanna hire.
Well, now, we sent you out letters.
No, I'm talking about us sit down together as a council and look at the applications
That's
and
fine.
discuss it.
You just understand everything you do, though, is an open meeting. You
Yes,
have to do
yes,
that
yes.
it would have to be a called meeting,
Right.
or you can call it a work session.
Or either have it, you know, take the applications by a certain time and then have another forum tomorrow before you decide on who you're gonna hire. Is that what y'all think?
When is Eugene's last day?
End of this month. Well, we've got 3 apps there tonight. How do y'all want to vote on it? Do you want to go around and vote for who you want, or?
Mr. Prophet, any motion that's made could be subject to verifying references and an appropriate background check.
Right.
So you could certainly qualify, just because you made the motion, you could certainly qualify that references be acceptable and that they pass a sufficient background check. So that could be covered before, certainly.
Which I'm asking you, but
That's something that should be done. You're absolutely
I
right.
think it should.
Especially in this position for the background check.
Tony Harris, Dakota Preston, and Ronnie Langford. I guess we'd better open floor for nominations for a sanitation maintenance technician.
What does this position pay?
I would say somewhere around $14.50. That's what I had plans on. Anybody got any problems with that?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know what nobody's making. I mean, is that the start, pretty much the starting salary?
Well, yeah, that's well, if you don't do that, you won't get anybody to apply.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's I mean, we've got to pay halfway within line. I need a motion to hire a sanitation technician, maintenance technician. Out of the three, Tony Harris, Dakota Preston, Ronnie Langford.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Ronnie Langford for
Right.
that position of maintenance
Right.
technician.
Ronnie Langford has been nominated. Floor is now open for a second nomination.
And calling it a nomination is fine, no problem with that. Just, this is an employed position. It's not
Okay.
an appointed position by the council. It is an employed.
No.
The nomination's fine. Just, it's not, you're not filling somebody for a board or a committee or anything.
Nominate hiring.
That's correct.
Are there any second nominations? I need a motion. Nomination cease. He be elected by acclamation.
I'll make that motion, that nomination cease and he be
Just employed.
employed.
Employed by acclamation. We need to vote on that.
Yes, sir.
She got a second in it.
I got to have a second.
I second that they cease.
And it'd be hired by acclamation, I guess. Roll call in.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
All right, Ronnie Langford was hired then. All right. Line item 13, first reading of ordinance 19-0513 for the fiscal year 2019 and 2020 budget. Board open for discussion.
I'd like to see us look into getting the red light fixed at the interstate. I don't know if we need to receive bids on that, but I don't know what the cost would be. But I'd like to look into that and see what it costs to get it fixed.
What are you talking about?
The red light at the interstate.
I don't know that, but I mean,
Sensors have been broken for a long time.
so you're talking about putting up more poles and having sensors and state-of-the-art LED and the whole shoot match.
I have no idea. I just want, I mean, if we can fix what's there, I mean, I don't know anything about that technology, so. With the traffic studies that we've done, that's the first item of business to help our traffic flow is the, fixing the sensors. They're on a timer right now, and the sensors are broken. And we tried to file that with insurance, but evidently didn't get anything.
No,
Didn't receive anything on that.
no, that's, oh,
They said it was normal wear and tear and wouldn't give us no.
That's fine.
That's what I was going to ask. The state wouldn't compensate any where that's on a state highway right there, but I guess where it falls within their city limits, correct? Okay.
Is that our red light?
it is.
Yeah, they give it to us.
They give it to us.
They gave
We're
it.
supposed to take care of
Yeah,
it. From now on.
Yeah.
From now on.
I'm like Councilman Potts on that. Any ideas of what the cost of that would be?
I've heard once or twice, but it's not cheap. And we can get in touch with some people and we can get some bids and bring them back.
Yeah, I don't think it would be, I mean, I don't think anybody would charge us for a bid. You know, yeah, I mean, we could call some.
No, we can get some bids in. We probably would have to bid it anyway, so, I mean, I don't even know who we would get in contact with, but it's been so long, but when we did the study, I mean, that was their recommendation, was it?
I'm sure y'all had problems.
Well, listen, they are fixing, I'm that they're fixing to pave that road, see?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, we don't want to put anything in the pavement anyways, we want the above ground sensors. Now, what that would cost, I have no idea. But, Michael, we'll see if we
They
can,
put new sensors in when they pave?
Well,
no, they won't put that, that's,
I mean, they're not that deep under the pavement.
yeah, but, we don't want them back again.
They'll just break it.
Yeah, if, ones we
I
want,
didn't know if they'd just go ahead and do it or not.
no,
I mean, they can't go too deep on the pavement.
Yeah,
They'll cover them
those
up. I
things,
mean,
yeah.
If they was there originally, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
they
care
have
as,
to raise them up.
I don't care as an employee to look into that. I mean, I've done some research on it.
Well, if you've done some research on it, what have you got?
Well, I've not called anybody because I've not had the permission to do that. I've just, some companies and looking at some stuff.
Okay, we'll check on that next month and bring it back to council. Anything else have you have any more questions on this budget? The only thing we don't know anything about is the local option tax, because we don't have any idea what's gonna happen on that. And we figured the worst that we can come up to $100,000 short.
And every time we discuss it and run figures on it, it gets worse, so.
So, we're gonna be short on
It's not
that,
gonna
we're
be
gonna be
free.
short on liquor. And, I don't know, I saw. Everything else seems to be up to par, pretty much so.
And there's some cheat sheets here for y'all about some stuff that we know is going on and going up and down, so.
We do know that gasoline is up. And, where's that sheet that you had? That election's gonna be $25,000, and we got to have a central unit out here for the library, that's $5,000. And of course, employees raise 50 cents would be about $16,000 for Medicare and retirement. Investment charge for street lights, we have had to pick up another $1,350 on that for them. But we know next year we're gonna try to put in 2 sewer taps down at the park, and sewer bills for the park, and that's minor, and, that mixed drink for Board of Education that we're gonna lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000, and we're just estimating on maybe $2,000 worth of trash cans we buy every year, and maybe we won't have to buy none next year. We just bought some, didn't we, John?
Yeah, they never got delivered yet.
Huh?
We hadn't got them yet.
So we should be in good shape, of course, that's minor. And John approached me about maybe doing some repairs to the picnic shelter down there. We're gonna have to, get some contractors or carpenters or something, and maybe that backside of that one building out there needs to be taken out. So we estimated that, and Of course, we know gas, $1.92 to $2.59. Well, insurance on 2 new vehicles, and of course, we had an increase of insurance on the fire hall, and electric bills and street lights and blah, 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 blah. Everything else is going up. Everything's up, gas, electricity, and that. So that's all minor. I mean, I think that's minor. That's nothing that there. I think this budget right here will be fine. You got any? Yes, sir.
Oh, I had a question, just curiosity on the, does the county on the library, on that central unit, would they,
We furnish the building.
okay,
We furnish the building and the sewer, and they pay the water and electricity.
okay. I was curious, I didn't know for sure on
I
that.
inherited that. That's been here forever.
Gotcha.
We've nursed that dude for a
All
long
the
time.
time.
Yeah.
The 2 new vehicles, you're talking about
Police car and
the ones we just got.
yeah,
I
the
mean,
ones we bought last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got another question too with the park. Is there any kind of money that we could get maybe that would help towards some of that?
I hadn't seen it yet.
I thought I might throw that out there, you know, to see with it being a park.
Well, it'd be- you haven't, park pretty well takes care of itself. I mean, time you pay the people to clean it up and pay the electric bill and the water bills and repairs, and we just replaced the tables out there, 2 years ago, and it's not really that big a deal. It's there, so I mean, I did put in for a grant on possibility with Virginia Solomani Alexander for down at the boat ramp to maybe to build a shelter down there and to build some restrooms down there. And what was it? Was it 90-10 or 95?
95.
95. It's a 95-5 match. I mean, and like I said, I was down there today, and some fellows come out there fishing out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
So and it's in desperate need of some restrooms down there real bad. So, and I'm not talking about Porta Johns, I'm talking about some nice restrooms and maybe a shelter. So she put in for that. So we have put in for that, but as far as this park out here, there's not much down the pipe.
What is this right here?
I can't read
It's about the beer deal.
the liquor.
Because the cards are passing.
Well, yeah, we losing on the liquor. Our liquor's down.
Oh, you're saying because they pass.
Yeah, our liquor's down because no, they.
You're losing demand.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Though I thought it was going to be $25,000, but it's what'd you say, about 14.
700.
Well, the beer may be up a little bit. And we thought it was going to be worse than this, but it's not that big a deal. And it's just the biggest thing's going to be if we lose that local option. That's going to be the biggest deal on that 3/4. I mean, that's there. I mean, that's $100,000. That's a drop. That's a drop for us. 20 cents property tax. And I didn't say we was going to raise it, but I'm saying that's what it would cost if you replaced it back. I mean, that's how big of a deal it is. And our property tax rate's not 76 cents, 76 point so. So, I mean, you're talking. I mean, it's a big deal. That 3/4 cent. Any more discussion on the budget?
I got something, on the employee raise.
Yes.
Last year it was discussed on, at the $1.50 mark, and 75 cents last year and 75 cents this year. I don't know where that stood.
Well, like I said, on that $100,000 deal, the finance people put the numbers to it, and we came back out with maybe 50 cents. Now, if y'all wanna give them 75 cents, we can live with it just like we did last year. But,
I just know that's what was said last year.
well, yeah, it was, and we didn't really know we were gonna lose this $100,000 neither. And I see it'll make any difference if he passes or not, because it being August, they won't collect until September. They won't pay it until October, so we won't start drawing again until November. So you've got, July, August, September, October, November. We know we're gonna miss 5 months. So that's at least $40,000 right there, and we know we're gonna lose. Now, we put the budget together, we work on it, my finance people, they know more about the numbers than I do, and we put it together, and that's what we thought. And if y'all wanna give them 75 cents, that's what they did last year, we'll change it to 75 cents. That's y'all's discussion, that's y'all's.
We was talking about, getting, closer to other departments and stuff like that, as far as pay. Carthage also gave us 75 cents last year, so it kinda just moved on. I just wanna be competitive in the, pay scale, just to, if we need to hire someone, without having a lot of troubles.
Are we gonna have a workshop to talk about the budget some more? This ain't, if we're not passing it.
You're just passing it on first reading tonight.
Yep.
You could make changes between now and the next time, yes, sir.
But we also
Well, that
have
is an
to,
option.
have to remember that on local option, last month, our part of we collected 66,700. Carthage collected 218,000. So after the half to the school and the half to the 14% that goes to the general fund on the other, our check after another 1% was taken out and went to general fund was 25,196, and Carthage was 76,000. So they are receiving 3 times as much local option money as we are. So and I'd be afraid to see what Lebanon's was and all those others. We've got to take care of our flowers and let them take care of theirs. We can't get into that because we're bringing in this much money, and I mean, in my deal, I've always had to run my household on what I made, not on what my neighbor made. If he come in with a new Lincoln Continental, that didn't mean I was going to have to get out and go after one. So,
I've got less Lincolns.
but that was a recommendation from the finance people. Now, if y'all want to give them 75 cents, or if you don't, we'll.
Also, I guess I'm losing an offer now. That monies he's making, we'll be hiring somebody at less pay than what that is. So, that's what out there.
Less pay than what we're gonna pay him to do that?
No, less pay than what he makes right now as an officer,
Oh,
where he's been here. so many years
His
as an
starting
officer.
would be less than the money current.
Well,
His or hers starting would be less than what Rod's.
he understood that.
If we did the special election, when were we going to have that?
August.
August.
We have, and that's a matter under old business, but tonight you'll vote on the language that will go on the referendum by resolution. In fact, the county still has until May 18th, which I guess is this week, to pick that up. They have the 40 days. I've had no indication they're going to. But
They
still
won't
could
until
happen.
next year. They'll pick it up next year. They'll pick it up next August in 2020. speak or forever hold your peace. Do you want to go with this budget, or do you want to go back and put 25 more cents in it?
And like we talked about, you have another reading of this.
Oh, yeah.
So if there is a change, it can still be made.
I'll make it known, I can't speak to this, so. I'll get that up there.
And I can only speak for the police department. I can't speak for all employees.
Always been my policy though, that if a janitor got a quarter, the city recorder got a quarter. That's just, this percentage and deal, I mean, these are supposed to be cost of living wages, and a loaf of bread costs the janitor the same amount as it does the city recorder or the police chief or whoever. It's the same. I never did like percentages. The bigger they get further and the smaller gets smaller. So it's,
Well, I'll say this, I feel that we should be competitive with other like size departments and towns to keep, say that we have an officer or whomever employee that's, you know, training, been here for a couple of years, then all of a sudden, hey, so-and-so's getting this, well, guess what, that officer's left to go there. And I mean, I know that we can't compete with bigger cities, but I'm saying size towns of ours comparable to.
And I'm not asking for another bigger city pay like that. Just what was said last year is what I would like to see. Nothing no more, no less.
all we did was put in what we were thought was fitting with the budget. And the answer to the question is yes, we can carry it. But there is also a deal that if we start losing this much on that and if the tax didn't pass, and if they're there and we start coming in lower revenue, then something's got to be cut. And probably the first thing we'd have to cut is not to pave roads up here. We've been real fortunate to pave streets and do concrete sidewalks, curbing, and that was always on top of mine was the roads. I mean, your infrastructure is you've got to have good roads. I mean, and that has always been I always like to take care of these roads, but it's up to y'all. You can go 50 cents, you want to go 75. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, I'd like to keep our officers. I mean, I hate to lose to anybody.
How was this presented
Last
last time? Just curious.
Same way.
Being a newcomer to the group on council.
Same way, 50 cents, and then they asked for that, and they passed it, council passed it.
The council passed the,
Yeah, the 75,
Just for
75,
last year, though, right?
yeah,
for last year's.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was $1.50, and they agreed to do 75 cents this past budget and 75 cents this upcoming budget.
But there wasn't nothing etched in stone on that. Once again, my job is to try to see that we've got enough money here on Friday to pay everybody
Yes, sir.
and what to take care of. And like I said, I have no problem. If you want to give them 75 cents, that's fine. We have given $1 before. Yeah. But I'd really, like we said, we're on the downside this year. It's not as good as it has been, and we don't know. These figures are all just absolutely pulled out of the hat, and it's a guess. It's pretty much it's probably, it may be an educated guess, but it's a guess. And rule of thumb when you're putting a budget together is on, that I always thought, that you figured your expenditure is high and your income low. Now that's what I've always seen and the way they did it, and it's always better to be expecting $100,000 to come in $90,000. So the bills, and it's if you're putting for revenue for 90 and it comes into 100. So I mean, but we running. You look at it there. You look at what percentage is left and what there. I mean, most of them are running pretty neck and team.
Are we budgeting for a car this year?
Yes.
Do we need another new car?
But it's almost cheaper than getting them worked on.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know, how many have we got, and how old are they, how many miles have we got on them?
Dawson's got right over 100,000 miles. If we get one more, it'll put a whole unit, a whole fleet that's actually pretty new. And then they'll have 2 spare cars.
That's old cars or new
That's all
cars?
Well, they'll be 100,000 mile cars, which for spare cars is legit. All the paddles we got, they're just nitpicking us to death, to be quite honest.
Well, they're 9 years old. We bought a car the first year I was here, and that was 2011. And we bought a car every year.
Siemens.
Yes.
I've had to put 3 air conditioners on them the last, or 2 on them last month. And that's a lot.
If you look at her expense on her cars is pretty high.
That's the only thing that's even mostly.
That and brakes. You have a lot of problems with brakes.
Bad in my budget.
I was always a firm believer of that when was on the county commission. They had 20 at that time. They had 21 cars, and we got to buying 7 a year. In about 3 years, the way they run, of course, we don't run near as many miles as they did. But every 3 years, then you replaced them out. And years ago on the school buses, I know there was like 30 of them, and they'd buy 3 a year, and they would last back then 10. They tell me now they'll last 15 or 20. But we got into that old county over there, got it, and
It was
they were spending like $150,000.
we don't put that.
What kind of miles?
That's what I was gonna ask.
And they're not as hard on them neither.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Well, how many miles a year do y'all put on the car?
Just,
Just roughly.
Probably 15, something like that, I would think. He probably put more on his because he's going home, but these just stay here. You said,
15,000 a year?
About 20,000 miles a year.
about 20 years.
well, now one of those cars is 9 years old. It ain't got 180,000 on it. You said it had about 100.
Well, just an approximate. I
Yeah.
I ain't counted it.
Well, I'd say they run 10,000-15,000 miles a year.
Some officers run about 100 miles a night. Some of them run 50. Just calling what they're doing.
Right.
You know, it's just
Yeah, I definitely don't want to take that car.
it's kind of a crapshoot. And if you got a bunch of calls going on, you're just going from business to business or house to house. It ain't too bad if you just patrol. When you patrol about 80 miles a night usually. So if you take 80 times 5, that's 400 miles a week. For 52 weeks, that's 20,000 miles. And you got to count off the vacation stuff when the car's not moving. So maybe 15.
And you said you have many ACs you've replaced lately?
I replaced one at December last year, and I replaced 2 this year. And I've gassed one of them up.
That first one, we had a bad experience with it. They put all that wire and everything up under the dash, and then it was brand new and the air conditioner went out. Well, General Motors, they would fix the air conditioner, but we had to pay somebody to take all that stuff back out. Then they fix the air conditioner, then we put it back in. So we've had some.
And that's probably $2,500 just to install the wiring and put it back.
Well, it probably wasn't that much. Seeing that's been 9 years ago. We've experienced that was only one, but we had bad luck at first. All right, what you want to do? 50 or 75?
Would it be a little over 8,000 if we upped it? In addition to the 16, if we upped it to
Be about what
16?
it'd be, yeah.
There's-
Be 24 instead of 16. Ooh,
I feel like if we told them last year we'd do 75, that's what we should try to do if it's within the budget at all.
I agree with Miss Barbara on that myself.
okay, so we'll change it from 50 cents to 75 cents.
Don't think I'm not grateful for a 50-cent raise. You know, any raise at all is a good raise.
I need a motion for that, to change that from 50 to 75.
Just a motion to approve
Approve
the
the
ordinance
ordinance, yeah.
with that change.
Yes.
Well, I make the motion to approve this budget with the additional 25 cents an hour for the employees.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
Barbara makes a motion, Mr. Harp, Councilman Harp seconds. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
All right, budget approved on first reading with a 75-cent raise.
Oh, okay. We'll move on. We'll move on to new business. Anybody got any new business?
I'd like to go ahead. I'd like to just mention something. I don't want to make nobody mad, first of all. But this has been going on for 2 or 3 years. We have people sitting out here at the interstate that's selling fruit and vegetables.
We get paid for that.
I'd like to see the permit and where we're getting paid for that.
We'll go get it.
Because somebody's been out here for 2 weeks, I want to see it.
It gets, costs him $50 for 2 weeks. And we,
And wait just a second, let me
Okay.
ask you another thing. Does the firework people not have to have permission from the landowners to set up anywhere they say?
yeah.
Okay, I want to see his written permission to
Well,
set
it
up.
was in that application there.
No, I'm talking about the fruit guy.
Huh?
I'm talking about the fruit guy. I want to see his,
Well, you tell me who owns that and we'll get
State.
the state.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
So, because it's a traffic hazard. One thing. If you don't believe me, just go down there and say it something. When they're all pulling right here, he's back here, and then people trying to pull out the McDonald's and off the interstate. And, I mean, I know that y'all pay, or I guess y'all pay something before about this. I don't
that's
know.
been here
That's why I'm
forever.
asking.
It's been here forever. I mean, that's here when I came. It's $50 for 2 weeks.
So, I think it's referred to as a peddler's.
Been a Drew Peddler.
For 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's supposed to come in here every 2 weeks?
And he
get his
does.
permit.
And he does. If he doesn't, we send those guys right down there and they shut them down.
I went down there.
Because it's not fair to this man over here to pay taxes.
It's not, and they're complaining about it,
and,
because
well-
he don't pay no kind of sales tax, or he don't pay
Well,
nothing.
but he pays a vendor's tax. He pays it every 2 weeks.
He don't pay the same business tax as I do,
No, I didn't say
and
that.
I live here.
I didn't find a permit, but I found a receipt where Trout paid $50
When?
on the 30th of April.
I was about to say, I was right when I got here. I remember it
And
coming
it's for
in.
15 days.
Well, it's a,
Days of 13.
13, he's got another day. But now we watch it. Back me up, Shannon. He's that's the first thing we call is how they are running on those things. Now,
I think you ought to have permission from somebody.
now, Charlie, if a farmer raises corn in this county and he brings that in here, there's nothing we can do with that. If
I
a guy,
understand that.
if a guy is raising, say, honey, if it's local honey and he raised it, he brings it in here. If he raises his watermelons or his pumpkins, we get nothing. It's these guys though that they go buy the stuff and then they bring it in here and basically resell it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lady down there doing honey, then she actually, that's her, that she does it from home.
Right.
It's local honey.
But it's right beside the trap down there, but I know trap, I mean, God is.
Right.
But we do check them periodically.
But any ordinance you've got, you can look at again. So,
Right.
it's on the books now.
Okay.
All right, John, what'd you?
I was just gonna say, as far as the, getting these packets, I know, Michael, you're new, is this something we can receive a little bit earlier?
Sure.
These other guys may like email, I kinda like hard copies, 'cause I don't email a lot. But I mean, that'd be something we might wanna work into the next, you know, I mean, I ain't saying do it next month, but just
Okay.
something we may look at.
How quick you want?
Sure.
Couple days, a couple days, would that be fine with y'all? I mean, I know, you know, you want it as close to possible as, you know, the figures, I don't know
Yeah.
when you generally run those. When do you generally run this stuff?
Well, the cutoff for stuff is on Mondays before. You know, if anybody wants to be added to the agenda, we put the cutoff,
Before.
the cutoffs on the Monday, you know. So,
Yeah, just a couple days
Yeah,
to look
just
over
look
the
over.
financial part of it and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Not a problem.
If we get them here by Friday, you can pick them up on Friday. I don't really want to mail them.
No, I think everybody would be, and you email, you may want an email, I don't know.
It doesn't matter, I can pick it up.
It's not like y'all not passing by here about 3 times every day.
Well, y'all, I'll leave before y'all get here and you're gone when I come back through.
Call me,
I might have to. I haven't seen you.
Any more new business? Okay, I turned it over to you for the old business.
Yes, sir. Very quickly, we've discussed at length tonight the local option special referendum that the town approved back in April. The election commission has accepted our ordinance, as far as I know, they haven't told me otherwise. And the election supervisor would like to go ahead and get the language for the ordinance, or what it would look like on the ballot. That's what I know how to put it. I spoke, while I talked to him to ask about that other issue, I also asked him about this. They had a sample they recommended, which I had looked at and I have no problem with, but it's in the form of a resolution. I don't know that we've got a copy for everybody, but in essence, it would, if you'll allow me just to read it, and I just need approval of the resolution, and I'll get it to the election supervisor. It would appear on the ballot, and this is what they recommend, shall ordinance number 19-3-12 passed by the town of Gordonsville, which increases the sales tax rate of the town from 2% to 2.75% on the same privileges subject to the retailer sales tax under Tennessee Code Annotated Title 67, Chapter 6, Parts 1 through 6 be approved. And then you'll just have a spot that says yes and no. So it will, that's how they normally look when you vote in countywide elections. And the $25,000 you have budgeted, that was what she hoped to be on the high end of the special election, but she'd certainly rather give us that than be surprised at the end. So if that's acceptable, and I have no problem with it, I just need a motion to approve the resolution that would put that on the referendum. And she would look at, it's got to be, you have to wait the 40 days for the county, its consideration, and then they have to hold the election no sooner than 75 and no greater than 90, so there's about a however many 15-day window in there. We should have a date probably this week. That's the when it'll be, because the county's time runs this week, or next week maybe. County's time runs this week.
2 weeks of early voting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what eat us up. You got to have 2 weeks of early voting, and it'll be at Carthage. over at the election commission.
Your last election on this, 10 years ago? Longer?
Longer than that, it's longer than that.
I think you voted 65 people.
Yeah,
So
60-something people.
It's an expensive process, but it certainly means a huge difference to as far as revenue.
Yes.
I need a motion for ordinance 19-03-12.
Resolution.
Resolution, not an ordinance.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
Vice Mayor Potts made the motion, seconded.
Councilman Hart.
Yes, sir.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent.
Anything else come before the council? Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion too.
Second,
I say,
all in favor say aye. Good night.
like that.
Yes.